Today we are going to talk about a really interesting topic about analytics in merchandising process, the importance of analytics. Actually, we in Lifeo company, we are really keen on analytics, and we are fans of analytics in all of our solutions because we think that most of the routine work, it should be done by the machine, by the solution, by some software. But what's important is to make some intellectual work, to analyze all the time, to see, to compare the efficiency, what was before, what was after. So that's why we enhance all of our solutions with different BI modules. And actually today we are going to talk about the BI module of our shelf efficiency solution. It was introduced recently by the Lifeo team. And today we're going to cover the reports in this BI module. So I hope that you will enjoy the webinar. During the webinar, please feel free to ask questions in the chat. I will be glad to answer them either today during the session, or we can organize always a separate meeting and discuss it in more details. Let's start. I think that everyone who wanted to join, they already did. My name is Anna. I will be conducting today's webinar. I'm head of business development in Lifeo, and I really enjoy working with the customers, with the current customers, with potential customers, understanding their needs, requirements, and I have really good experience in that. Regarding us as Lifeo is a platform that optimizes and automates different processes in supply chain for the retail business. We have several solutions in our portfolio. They can be combined and work together, and as well as they can work as separate modules. So one of our solutions is inventory optimization. This is a solution that covers the replenishment process at all levels, at the level of stores, at the level of distribution center. It automates all the orders at all these levels and sends the orders to the suppliers. And on the top of that, as I mentioned, it also has a very powerful BI module in order to give people the tool to analyze and identify different bottlenecks. On the top of the inventory optimization solution, there is a promotion intelligence solution that helps to manage different promotion campaigns, to analyze their efficiency, to plan them beforehand, and to forecast the sales for the upcoming promotion campaigns. The other one solution in our portfolio is the solution that assortment performance. It's a solution that helps to identify the assortment strategy, to manage different categories and clusters with the help of AI and machine learning, and also to make deep assortment analytics. And the solution that will be closely connected with the topic we are going to discuss today is shelf efficiency. This is a solution that helps to manage and cycle the whole merchandising process for retailers, starting from creation of the floor plan, of creation of the planogram, on communicating the planogram to the store with the help of the mobile application, and controlling the execution of the planogram by the store managers or by the merchandisers. So the model we are going to talk about is the model in shelf efficiency solution. This is a BI module that helps to cover different, compare different stores to make to compare the efficiency, to evaluate the efficiency in order to understand if we are doing the right, the right job in the merchandising. As a company, we are present right now in 16 countries, and we implemented more than 160 projects for this time, and we have about 100 employees in our team. We at Lifeo, we work and have been working with different retail verticals, starting from the grocery, convenience stores, supermarkets, and ending with some specialty retailers like pet stores, toy stores, DIY stores, and so on. So regarding the solution in a nutshell, what it does, it helps, first of all, to have the macro space management, to plan the floor plan, interactive floor plan, to place different equipment on the floor plan. After that, to go to the planogram, create the planogram either by drag and drop or by like making the automation, automatically create the planogram according to different settings. After that, publishing and communicating the planogram to the store so that they can make the actual layout and send the feedback back to the central office. Let's start with the main topic of our discussion today, the BI module of the shelf efficiency solution. I'm right now inside the solution. This is a cloud-based solution. And today here we see the BI module here, and we see here different types of reports. So we will start with the first report. This is like-for-like analysis. This is important report to be able to compare different periods of time in order to understand if some of our actions, they brought some like good changes to our company. They brought increase in sales, they brought increase in like profitability and so on. So what we do, we choose the period type here for which we want to compare. And we got the like-for-like analysis. Here we can choose like the parameter, one of the parameters for which to make the analysis. For example, it can be store, it can be supplier, planogram, item, brand, and so on. From the other side, it can be like the numbers. So how to identify, how to compare, by what numbers? So by the sales, by the profit, sales in pieces, sales per meter, and so on. So what we do next is, for example, we can see here their diagram, the like-for-like analysis for the whole year. We can either choose the month is here to be compared, or we can go here and choose the months as different months is here. So here we can see that we compare in October and November, and we see that there is some increase in sales. We see that there is some increase in profitability. So we are able to compare the two different periods. Here we can see the more detailed more detailed comparison by some additional KPIs. Here we see the sales, the deltas in sales, in profit, in sales in pieces, in sales per meter, profit per meter, and so on. I wouldn't count all of them. Also, we can make the comparison here by the sales per meter, for example, or by the sales per facing. So to understand if we are moving in the right directions, if we are doing the right changes in the planograms, and so on. If we would like to go into some more details, and for those people who like numbers, for example, we can go to the table, and here we change the analysis section. For example, we change planogram, and we will be able to see the numbers like for each planogram. And the delta, so the difference between sales from the previous period to this period, profitability, sales in pieces, and so on. So different parameters. We can also stretch this report for the whole screen and to be able to see all the numbers here. For your convenience, the numbers here are here highlighted in the green color. It is the positive dynamics. The numbers highlighted in red color, it's some negative dynamics. So this is the report about, and also we can see this report in terms of the numbers, not like deltas, but actual numbers for for the sales, for the profit, sales in pieces, and so on. Now let's go further. Let's go to the assortment. This is the report that helps us analyze how quickly we react as a retailer to the assortment changes, because assortment, obviously assortment is not stable for the retailer and it changes all the time. And it's really important in a short term to make the changes to the planogram so that the store managers, the merchandisers, they can see these changes and quickly change the layout. So that's what we see here in this report. And there are two different sections. we can either analyze it for the whole group, or we can choose some particular group and like click on this group, and the report will show just for this group. So what we see here, and there are two different parts. The first part is the part that shows us the share of unplaced items in the assortment. So it means that some of the items were introduced to the assortment, so it's new items, but they were not, they already in the assortment matrix, but they are not placed on the planogram. So we should do it immediately. And here we see the coefficient of how many items are not placed on the planogram. Of course, it like more makes sense to, for example, to see especially the items that were already ordered. So we already have them in our stock. So the items with balances, and to analyze like that, just these items, to immediately place them on the planogram. This coefficient, of course, it should be like close to 0, because most of the assortment should be ideally placed on the planogram. And vice versa, we should delete the planogram, delete their the items that are not actual in the assortment matrix. That we should go ahead and delete them from the planogram. This is the second part of the report here. Here we can also we can choose items without balances. So for example, we still have them in the planogram. There are no balances for these items, but still we didn't make any changes and we didn't replace these items. Let's go further. Just a second, I will move Zoom. So the next report here is a report about balances. Let's choose here. We see different hints from the system, like what we should do to have the analytics. And it shows us, for example, that here we should select the store. So let's go to the store selection. We select the store. And we can see here different planograms, different reports for different planograms and for different shelf numbers. What this report shows is what is the percentage of the stock balance was for each particular shelf, for each particular planogram. What it means and what it helps to analyze. It helps to identify if and to make sure that we are not having the empty shelf. So if here the service level is low, like here we can see, for example, like 46%, or here we can even see like 9%, it means that we are having the empty shelves. That most of the time during the period that we choose, we can select here different periods of time. Most of the time that we choose, there was no stock balance for the items that are placed on the shelf. And that means that we should either from one side to work with the inventories and to work with the suppliers, or from the other side, maybe we should choose the items. We should replace it with some items that have better service level. So in order not to have the empty shelf, because the empty shelf is like a very bad situation for the retailer. So in this case, we can analyze. We can analyze each product category. We can analyze each shelf here, and to see that of course the availability should tend to from 90 to 100%. Let's go further. And we have here the reports about the face and change recommendation. Here we should select some of their numbers. So we are selecting the type of return rate. We are selecting the date range here. We select here the calculation type. And let's select the store. And planogram. For example, in my case, I will choose the planogram low alcohol. What we can see here, for example, the first part is facings with change recommendations. So it shows us the their balance between the share in sales and the balance between the share in width. So, for example, if it means that this category, what we have here some some kind of wine, and we have here really unbalanced situation when their share in sales is like 90, is almost like 20%, and share in width is only like 30%. So it means that it brings us a lot of sales, but at the same time we have a very small width. So we should consider like changing the facing and increasing the facing. And we can see it for each particular category here. And here we can see this in this diagram, this situation. And here, like the items that will be close to the middle, let's say, it means that they are like more or less balanced. They have the return rate that is close to 1. But if we can see like these items, it means that they are the most problematic items, and these items and these items. So for these items, red items, we should go immediately and decrease the facings. And for these items, we should go immediately and increase the facings. So it means that those items, they bring us like a lot of sales, but they are almost not present in the planogram. And these items, vice versa, they are present in like big width and with a lot of facings, but they almost bring us no sales. And here we can see the table that shows us the actual, like there are a lot of numbers here. We won't cover like all of them, but in a nutshell, it shows us like for which items to increase the facings and on how many facings. So here we can see like to increase, for example, for 1, 3, 8, 9, and so on. And here we can see that for these items, we should go and decrease the facings. Okay, this is about the report regarding the how the system helps you to work with the different with the efficiency on the planograms. The next one is also connected with the return rate, but in this report we can compare the return rate of different categories. So for example, we are choosing here the type of return rate by sales. We choose here the analysis section, and we choose here the period. Okay. The type of return and period for analysis, and we can choose here, for example, the store. What we can see here, that we can see here like by brand, and we can compare what part of the brand is presented like in a big number of facings, for example, and we should maybe talk with the supplier about decreasing this number of facings, or just if we can do it, just decrease it by ourselves. So to identify these like problematic items with very big return rates and that are not like balanced, that are over 1 or like close to 0. And we can compare also these categories. So in order to understand, for example, here we have different like brands, but we can also compare categories in order to understand which category occupies a lot of like shelf, and we should maybe work and think about a decrease of this category on the shelf and on the equipment, and vice versa, which category brings us like more sales, but it's not really presented like with the number of widths, with the number of items on the shelf. So that's how we can analyze that. We can analyze that here for the different like brands we have reported here, and we can open the like table with the numbers in order to see like on how many meters, for example, it's better for us to increase the category, for how many meters it's better for us to decrease the category. Let's go further to the layout structure. So this is a report that allows us to identify and to see how much place each category, subcategory, or like we can choose like brand, supplier, and so on, occupies on the shelf. We can choose some particular category and analyze that and so on. For example, we can here like mention the data for which to calculate the part of each subcategory. We can choose here something, for example, like fast food, and see information just like for this subcategory. And we can see some more details in terms of the planogram for this category. So for example, we can open this table. We can see here the widths. We can see here the average facings, share in widths, facing widths, and other different parameters that allows us to understand what is the part on the shelf of each subcategory, to analyze if it's balanced, to compare different categories with each other, and make decision and help the category manager to make decision on the increase of like some items on the shelf or decrease of some items on the shelf. And also the last one, here we can get some recommendations from, not recommendations, we can compare the efficiency of our action on one store where, for example, the pilot store where we made some changes in the planogram with some basic store. So for how we can do that? We select here the basic store, for example, this one. We select here the store for comparison, for example, this one. So the basic store is the store where we made some changes. For example, we chose this store for the pilot when you're like starting the project, and you are working for this store in terms of like changing the planograms, in terms of working with the planograms, analyzing the planograms according to the sales efficiency. So you're basically working with the store in the system. The store for comparison, it's the store that is very similar to this one, but we haven't made any changes. So, for example, we choose here the data period to be able to find the similar store and to be able to make sure if we are comparing with the similar store according like to the sales. So we're choosing here several weeks. For example, we choose the data period before changes. For example, we understand that, we are comparing 2 weeks with 2 weeks, and the week 41, 42, when we didn't make any changes, and the week 45 and 46, when we actually like made some changes to the planograms, communicated it to the stores, and like the store managers, they changed this, the layout. We are choosing here chips, so some product category. And we calculate for the calculate the result for this like 52 items that we chose. I will explain these numbers a little bit later. Right now we are like checking whether we choose the like good store for the comparison. So we show, we let the system show us the rating of the store that we choose for the comparison. So this is the store 89001. It has like the first rating, so it means that according to the rating system, this store is like very close to our store that we are comparing. And here we can also like search for a similar store and to analyze this information in terms of like different ratio, sales ratio, availability ratio, and so on. Regarding the system algorithms, in a nutshell, it combines all these criteria with different like parts of each criteria here, and makes decision on which store is like in the first rating, which store is like in the second rating, and so on. So we can either like we can search here for the store that has like similar sales, for example, and so on. And just to make sure, or if we would like to change some other store, we can go to this table, and we can see here like different stores. We can compare by different parameters here, by sharing sales, by the promotional days, and so on. and can see that, okay, the pink one, for example, and the green one, they seem to have like very similar behavior in terms of the share in sales, in like total sales of the retailer. But for example, we can see that the red one, it has like a much bigger part in the sales of the company. So that's how we can like work and choose the store. And here we can check the rating, like how you choose, for example, it, and how the system has chosen it, and compare. So what we can see here, we can see that during 2 periods of time, that before changes and after changes, we had some like increase in sales in comparison to the part if we didn't make any changes. It will become more clear if we go here, for example, and we can see here different indexes. So, for example, the basic index, we can see that actually both the first store and the second store, they dropped in sales. But it can be for different reasons. It can be, for example, if we are right now we are analyzing chips. For example, it was during previous period, it was some football match, and a lot of people, they bought chips and ate them with the beer. And right now, after that, the football championship stopped, and like now we have drop in sales. So for both stores, their sales. For both stores, the sales dropped, but we see that for the basic store, we have the drop just for 1 and 2%, and for the store that we are comparing with, where we didn't make any changes, the drop was for 30%. So it means that if we didn't make any changes in our basic store, we might have had the same effect as here. And it means that due to our changes, we actually like kind of earned the company $7,000 and like $7,500, for example. So this is very very interesting report that allows us to analyze and to see the effect of like how your category managers worked with the planograms, and that their efforts there were not like they were done like properly, and they can see the effect actually in numbers on the stores that that were compared. This is the overview of the BI module for the shelf efficiency solution. As I mentioned in the beginning, it's just like the analytics, let's say, part, not the small part, but the analytical part of the system that helps to identify the bottlenecks, to evaluate the efficiency, to compare different stores, to compare the efficiency before the planogram change, after the planogram changes, and so on. And still the main part of the system, it helps to work with the planogram, so it's more like the process one. Thank you for your attention. If there are any questions, I will be happy to answer them. Please write them in the chat. Or if you're interested to talk more about the planogram solution, how it works, we will gladly share our experience. Please feel free to contact our sales team through the website, through the demo request, and so on. Thank you everyone for your participation, for being in this webinar. After the webinar, we will definitely share the recording with all of you. It will be sent to your email. Have a nice day, and I hope that this webinar was insightful and interesting for you, and will help you to think about how you evaluate efficiency, how your current merchandising process works, and these kind of things. Thank you very much for your attention. Have a good day.